Okay, hello my friends. Apologies for being late. I had some technical issues with another endeavour. I'm just opening my computer at the same time here. I've got a million things. I haven't opened this computer yesterday, so it's telling me everything. This is Chat with Matt. Hello. Here we are. It is the 15th of June 2022. It's about 9 hours since full moon, Sagittarian full moon. So exciting, awesome opportunity to relax into the sort of the balance or the opposition between logical mind and intuitive self. That's what we were talking about last night. Thank you, Debbie. Happy Wednesday to you too. So yeah, I am just intending to get to a space where I can find out if anyone wrote in anything ahead of time. Oh, awesome, Susie. I'm glad you've woken up with a lot of energy. I've had an interesting morning too. Preparing for we have a yoga class here every Wednesday morning that usually Marie is doing, but I'm sort of looking after it while doing this, would you believe? So I couldn't get the computer to talk to the screen. So that was a bit of an issue. But anyway, I got there in the end, I hope. So I'm just looking for the notification to this. Here we go. Nothing. Awesome. So I put a little post on of me doing crow pose on a rock, on a series of boulders next to the Waikanae River and the reflection. Internal balance, strength, and confidence will be reflected in your external accomplishments. Internal balance, strength, and confidence will be reflected externally. Hey, Auntie Jeanette. So the point is not to try and orchestrate the external world, not to try and look balanced in the world, not to try and be strong in the external world. If you haven't done the inner work, then the external is always going to be very frustrating. You're going to push up against, disappointment if you are trying to get your life fixed from an external perspective. If you're not willing to look at what's going on inside, what's going on with your mentality, what's going on with your emotionality, what's your driving perspective of life. Because if that isn't balanced and strong, and you don't have a sense of internal authentic confidence in who you be as a being, then all of the external work that you're trying to do to orchestrate the perfect life is going to be very, very frustrating. Because the external world is always a reflection of our internal energy. And that's frustrating because our internal energy is quite often influenced by the process of letting go of a lot of past issues and stuff, because we have had quite a difficult past on this planet for, quite a few thousand years, really. It hasn't been a particularly upbeat place to be. And that's sort of borne its toll on many of us who are, predominantly desiring to partake in a light-filled existence. Hey, Sister Jill, how are you? What's going on with your things? I've been busy with my progressions. I signed off and paid for $10,000 worth of kitchen cabinetry during the week. I've also got all of the kitchen appliances and stuff ordered as well and paid for, as with the bathroom. So exciting. Still dancing through some other permeations of iterations of what could happen and what should happen, and trying to get other building materials, etc. sorted, which are a little bit more difficult. But anywho's, it's fun games. And then we've had this full moon to dance with, brother Doug. Full moon to dance with, which has been awesome opportunity. Home upgrades on a house we haven't moved to yet, Deb. So we've sold here before Christmas, actually. We signed contract to sell here. Convoluted story, lots of delays, etc. But have recently purchased another place and will be taking possession of that before we have finalised here. So I've got 6 weeks from sort of mid-July through to into August to renovate the new place before we move in. So it's tight timelines, and going to be interesting with today's supply issues. Anywho, we trust that the perfect outcome will arise. No doubt it will give me opportunity for my own my own inner growth and practice along the way. I am going to be busy, so it's going to be a busy it's going to be a busy spring. Yeah. So anyway, that's what we're doing. Yeah. And what else? I don't know what else is going on in my life. What do you guys want to know about? What's going on in your part of the world? What's going on in your part of the world? I do feel like Susie came on and said, there's a lot of energy this morning. It's interesting here because we've had such unsettled weather for the last 3 or 4 days. Like, we've had several trees down. I spent yesterday, a good chunk of yesterday, several hours yesterday on the chainsaw, cutting up trees that were down, gone through the fence, landed on other plants, etc., etc., stacking up all of the firewood for the new owners of this place and dragging all the branches off. So I've got to mulch at some stage, either today or tomorrow. But last night, like when the moon, like I had a spa and then a plunge pool, cold pool, before I did my call last night at 11 p.m. And it was still as anything, and the moon was shining bright, and it's relatively warm. Like, it's really warm this morning, unnervingly warm. It's kind of like that. This doesn't feel right. Why is it so warm? The air, it's still and warm this morning, waking up. So interesting flux and changeability with the full moon. So, hey, Sister Catherine and Michelle. Throw us some questions. What do you guys want to know about? Who's in charge here? It's certainly not me. We're here to serve whatever might feel appropriate, whatever might feel topical for you guys. Would love to be inspired into a discussion about something. Because I'm a little bit blank. I've been talking about my own life, which is, while some of you might find interesting, is not really the intent of the call, unless I can somehow talk about my own life and thus deliver something that is inspirational to everyone. That is okay, but talking for the sake of interest is not really high on our agenda. Okay, as soon as nothing's popped up on my screen, I'm going to have to think of something in a hurry. What have I been talking about in my group, in our transformational group? We've been working this month with polarities, really, and giving and receiving. I think I talked a bit about this last week here on Chat with Matt, this idea of giving and receiving. Hey, Sister Jess. Just transpose the T and the J. Talking about this sort of giving and receiving polarity, which sort of fits in well with this polarity of logic and intuition. So I think these sort of polarities are really coming up to be observed, addressed, acknowledged, and so that we can use our awareness to consciously choose to sort of hold intent that we expand beyond. Used to go by Tess, so that might explain something. It's an easy transposition to make, the J and the T. This polarity has been at the center, really, of a lot of our division on the planet, and that's been at the center of a lot of how we've been orchestrated to be divided. These polarities are used to create division, and division is used to control us, right? Because united we will stand against any authority, and divided we will be easily pitted against each other, and all sorts of things go on because we're too busy in the division to actually hold our governments and our systems to account, so that they give us really what we desire. So I think I've had 2 comments come in. So let's, I'll quickly read Deb's first. I very often wake up feeling blah and have to spend time recalibrating my energy in the morning until I get back to feel good. This has been a thing for years. Any ideas on how I can transition from dream state, astral travel, back to human life with more ease? Oh yeah, that's a good question, Deb. I think it's relatively normal. I often have the same experience, especially if I've been, quote unquote, busy in the night with various agendas that are beyond my conscious understanding, but nonetheless feels, like you wake up with the residue of what you've been doing, etc., etc. So, how can you do it more easy? Well, first and foremost, it's always to recognize that experience is not a wrong experience, and is not quote unquote bad, even though it's uncomfortable and it's not very efficient, and it's not quote unquote ideal from how we've been how we've been evolving or expanding ourselves. It's a difficult, it's annoying to wake up feeling quote unquote tired or blah or disconnected, and having to do practices to reconnect, reground, uplift our energy. For me, it's basically the first thing I do generally most mornings is step into the shower, or meditate. Some mornings I go straight to meditation because I feel in that zone. Some mornings I feel I have to have a shower first, right? Because, as you say, I'm feeling blah from all of the stuff that I've been doing in the night. And for me, a shower with conscious intent to allow the water to wash off residue energy and allow myself to really ground and come back to center. And I just do a bit of breathing when I'm in the shower, and turn the shower on cold at the end, etc., so that you're really really awake and present and grounded when you get out. For me, that's how I tend to accomplish that transition. But as I said, the other thing to do, whether you want to have a shower and do that sort of practice or not, is, because you could do the same thing, having a cup of tea, whatever the little, what do we call that thing, ritual is. Allow yourself to believe that it's working, and allow yourself to believe that the state of being, I use the word discombobulated, right? Disconnected, fatigued, even when you awaken, is not a bad thing. It's just an indication that you've been productive in the night, doing other things that you're not consciously aware of. And we tend to, because we're very much more attached to our daytime state, for most of us, our conscious state, we tend to think that that's a drag on us getting things done, that is important. But we really have no idea how important the stuff was we were doing in the astral or in our dream state. We don't have that recognition of how important that is, and so we tend to downplay it and then see the residue as a bad thing. If you'd been outside all day working in the garden, planting and harvesting and doing all this stuff, and you came in and you felt tired and you gave yourself an hour to recoup after doing all of this external hard work, you would not feel bad about that, because you would have a logical reason for feeling tired. You've been doing all of this hard work, productive work in the garden. And so you give yourself time to recalibrate after that. Well, it's the same sort of, you have been very busy in the astral or in your dream state. So give yourself permission to do what it takes to get yourself back into a more calibrated state for waking work when you come back from your dream state. So hopefully that helps. I'm going to have to open this up. Just give us a break. So I know I missed some comments. I need to put this on silent, and then I can, I want to go back to Jill's comment before then. Jill said, I'm waiting on others, quote unquote, mode yet again. I fired my agent last Friday, but still have 21 days notice period. So they are persevering with the guy who has wanted to buy my house since October last year. His mortgage offer expires in July, and he asked me to drop the sale price by 20K last March. The agents are blank on new ideas, and yet I can't move to a new one for 21 days. If I do, I'd have to pay both agents. Crazy. Yeah. That's a pain up the ass, Jill. You just have to basically trust that if there's nothing you can do about that, then there's nothing you need to do, and trust that this is going to work out. You just keep holding your intent on the perfect outcome, which is that house sold for the appropriate amount of remuneration, finance, and you in a new place, beginning new with all sorts of fresh ideas and fresh energies. So don't get too caught up in what has to happen in between. right now. If there's nothing you can do about this mess, then relax and trust that the universal timing, divine right timing is going to play out for you. And while it's frustrating that things seem to be getting delayed when you want to move on, potentially it's getting delayed for good reason that you are not yet aware of. So you just have to basically trust that. You just have to trust that. Jess Tara, which is her name here, Jess said, I'm transitioning from Jess to Tara, so Tess is a step along the way. Yeah, awesome. Heather, hi Matt and everyone from Northern California. Hi Brother Lou. Michelle said, great question. I feel this too. I'm sure that's around the waking up feeling blah and, disconnected. Jill said, have been packing up, sorting out and chucking out. Then I find 24-carat nuggets like a letter I received from my mum. A letter I received after Mum died 12 years ago from her childhood friend with memories of her. I'd forgotten I had that, and it's wonderful to read, but it stopped me in my tracks of busy doing, and I have to sit and have a cuppa or something. Yeah, well, that's perfect, Jill. That's perfect. Life, we're not here to be productive. I just wish we could all get that out of our heads. We're not here to be productive. We didn't incarnate onto Earth to tick off lists, right? We didn't. We came here to have experiences that are meaningful for us, that help us evolve or grow and gain wisdom. That's what we came here to do. So if you have that experience while reading a letter that you had forgotten you had, then perfect, because that's much more important than ticking off the list and appeasing this mental satisfaction that has been educated into the rightness of productivity and the wrongness of just simply being in moments. So let go of this harshness. I'm talking to all of us. Let go of this harshness that we're supposed to be productive in ways that are measurable in external parameters, metrics that society has indoctrinated us with. How much money have we earned? How much, widgets have we created or sold, or how clean is the house, etc., etc., etc. Shit that doesn't really matter, honestly. So, yeah, so awesome. Lou's here busy washing fabric, rolls of fabric. That sounds difficult to wash a roll of fabric. Is that like pulling it off the roll through a bin, wetting it all down, and then hanging it out to dry? Is that so it pre-shrinks or something, Lou? I'm sure it's something that you have to do before you can cut it, right? So that you get your sizing correct, something like that. Lou also wrote, Jill, I'm also in a big housing situation mess. My neighbour next door is waiting for me to finalise the blueprint for the new building ready to be built. We share driveways, so I just want to go and buy another property. Yeah, sometimes it's really difficult with shared access, Lou, that is true, but just trust. Just trust. Awesome, Susie. I'm glad you love that. I'm not quite sure what it is that you're loving, but I'm glad that you love it anyway, because anything that inspires love is good, right? So I'm happy that you love that, even if I'm not sure what you're loving, because it doesn't really matter. At the end of the day, that's the thing. It doesn't matter what we love. What's important is that we're in the vibration of love. And if we're using external things or concepts or something that someone else said to achieve that state of being, then great. Your comment on lists and experiences. Perfect. Yes, exactly. We're not here to be the productive thing that society has educated us into. Because the thing is, society makes a profit, right? Society makes a profit on us being productive, right? Society, the wheels, relies on us being productive and consumptive, right? That we consume and produce things. They don't make anything when we sit and be. So there is this collective push indoctrination into this productive cycle where we're busy doing stuff, because that involves generally driving our car, using electricity, using products, etc. Right? We drive the wheels of economy when we are busy doing things, producing things to sell, consuming things that others have produced, etc., etc. All the way it gets taxed, all the way bigger, higher entities are making a profit on it, right? Are skimming the vat. When you sit and be and stare at a tree, they're not making anything. And so they want to make that activity very wrong. They don't want you to be doing that. That's not in their interest. So this has been going on for a long time, right? We have been slaves to a system for a long time, in various states or another, whether we were serfs growing food for ourselves, which was then taxed by the king, or some other iteration. This has been going on for a long time. So we have been indoctrinated with a wrongness around doing that, and it's time for a fucking revolution. It's time for us all to stop being so productive and start being more connected to who we be, and allowing our vibration to resonate out around us, because that is going to change our society. When enough of us start honoring the vibration that we be and allowing it to resonate out strongly so that it becomes an influence in our society, then society is going to change quite dramatically. But as long as we keep buying into the doing and productive, we're going to keep maintaining an old system that is fundamentally broken and not meeting our needs. So it's exciting. Yeah, bring on the revolution. I don't need to say it twice, Deb. I know I let one out, but that happens. I spent far too long working in the film industry and as a tradesman to have a sensible mouth. Sensible, polite. Not to mention I grew up sailing with my father, who was a tradesman as well. So, Lou's cutting it into pieces 5 yards long before he washes it. So that's how it's getting washed off the roll. So that's important to know. Jill said, I guess I've been staying busy to keep from thinking about the tiring situation. I tried going for a walk last Saturday and felt like I was almost moonwalking. My steps were exhausting, but I didn't move forward very quickly. Yeah, and that's okay, Jill. That's awesome, right? Because again, you don't need to time yourself on the walk. It wasn't how good do you go for a walk. It was the fact that you were out walking to shift energy, and shifting energy you were doing. So while you were walking and feeling tired while walking, that was because getting out in nature and walking was actually working for you. It was shifting that tiredness. You were feeling tired, so you made yourself, the propensity is to make yourself wrong. I'm on a walk and I feel really tired. But potentially walking was the best thing for you to do to bring that tiredness to the surface so you could pump some oxygen through your body, get your body moving, and allow that energy to process, right? This is the thing. We have been indoctrinated into measuring how well we do things, right? Oh, I'm going for a walk, then I should be walking, right? As opposed to, I'm going for a walk. How is this benefiting me, right? Oh, I feel really tired. What's going on, you know? This is a good thing that I feel really tired now, not a bad thing. So, so yeah. And, you know, and it's entirely appropriate to use techniques as long as we're not overdoing this idea of staying busy to distract ourselves from ourselves. I do believe it's important that if we have got anxious loops running, that we get out and do something to help ease that off. But we can't completely bury our head in the sand. We must be willing to, sorry, let me just get rid of that notification. We must be willing to face what is beneath the anxiety, and distraction. While it's a useful coping mechanism to ease the intensity of the anxiety or the concern or the worry, it can't replace it. We can't just distract ourselves out of the problem, because the problem will still be there, right? Whatever the insecurity is, the deeper insecurity that's beneath the anxiety is not going to go away through just distracting ourselves. And at the same time, if we get too intent on trying to fix what's beneath it, that also isn't going to work. Relaxing through the process is the best. So it's not one or the other. It's not distraction or conscious processing. We use both at the same time with intent to progress, right? So this is this idea of polarities. We have to get out of polarities. We have to get out of right and wrong. Oh, it's wrong to stay busy. Oh, it's wrong to distract myself, right? It's wrong to... No, it's not wrong to do anything. It's not wrong to feel anxious either. We're all feeling anxious at the moment because there's so much coming up to going out for a walk is actually absolutely a distraction, Michelle, and it's a healthy one, and it also, because it incorporates movement and repetitive. How do you say repetitive? Repetitive, that's how you say it. Repetitive breathing, right? Repetitive, I wanted to say. You're basically breathing in a pattern when you are walking, right? You tend to breathe in time with your walking, and that regulates your stress response. So while it is a distraction and helps you to see other things, it's also a much more healthy one than, say, watching Netflix or, you know, something else that other people use, or that a lot of people use, that you also use, many of us use, watching YouTube, scrolling fucking Facebook, whatever. It's a distraction, but not nearly as healthy as getting out and walking, or going for a swim, or doing something else, dancing or bike riding, or, yeah, there's plenty of other good distractions. Brother Lou, wife is Gemini, is been very busy designing baby clothes. She is on a roll, so no wonder the sun is in Gemini. It makes so much sense. Yeah, it's Gemini season, right, from the up until the 22nd or so, which is our solstice as well. So we've got the solstice coming up, which is, you know, an end point, you know, of sorts, a tipping point, where we sort of go from, you know, the Earth tilting its northern hemisphere towards the sun, and we've sort of come grinding to a halt, station direct for a moment or two, and then the Earth starts her tilt back in the other direction. So we're coming up for the longest day in the northern hemisphere, the shortest day in the southern hemisphere next week, right at about 6 days away or so. I haven't actually looked up the exact date. Brother Lewis said, the revolution is within us. Enough of the waiting for a savior. We are the power. Exactly, Lou. And I've been saying that for a long, long time, right? We're not going to have someone come along, no sort of elected official, no extraterrestrial, no reincarnation of Jesus is going to just pop on and turn society around. That will not be happening. I'm not saying that Christ might reappear. He may, but he will not be coming as a you know, that we can all rest on our laurels and think that he will sort everything out, or the extraterrestrials will land and sort everything out, or, you know, President Trump will come and sort everything out, or some other political figure or something, right? That is not going to happen. One being or one group or one situation is not going to fix everything for everyone, because the process is internal. As I started this conversation and put the mini poster up last night, it's the external world is a reflection of our internal world. And until we are willing to look at our internal world and make some significant changes with what's going on in there, what energies are banging around inside of ourselves, what level of disconnect and discordance and discomfort is perpetuating the pain and the trauma that's so busy inside of ourselves, until we start looking at that and holding intent for that to shift and being willing to step up to the process and not hide from it, then our external world is not going to change. No matter how much one particular person might try to change it, it will not change if the collective resonance is not in agreement, because the collective resonance is everything. I'm going to try and get rid of this calendar notification. I did without entering my calendar, so that was good. Brother Lou said, self-sufficiency is where it is at. Having been working with my tribe, learning about plasma knowledge so we can be able to heal, feed our families, and free energy for all, not waiting for anyone to save me. Yeah, and I would also like to say, because I also got very contracted around self-sufficiency for a long time in my life. I felt that self-sufficiency was the highest form of empowerment. But I've come to realize that interdependence is actually the highest form of personal power. And we're not here to be self-sufficient. We are here to be interconnected in community. But in communities that are of manageable size, not this globalization, massive corporatization, pyramidical structure. So we must be willing to work in circles to achieve our needs, because none of us have the capacity to be fully self-sufficient. Humans are not of that nature, and it's not in it will not bring us joy to be fully self-sufficient. And I know you were talking about this as well from you. You know, you're working with a tribe, so I get that. But for everyone to ascertain, to understand as well, it's time to really lean into the support of like-minded people, to put aside our differences, because there'll always be differences within any community, with any tribe. We are not going to be all the same. And that's important because it's the biodiversity, it's the diversity of thinking and mentality and energetic makeup within the tribe that creates strength, right? Because monocultures are incredibly susceptible to falling over, right? They're vulnerable, very vulnerable. And so we need diversity. We need diversity, and it's time to start honoring diversity. And at the same time, it's time to start really leaning into what each and every one of us can give to each other. So creating groups and communities and working together towards becoming less dependent on the state and the entities that have taken control of our security, our structures and our food supplies and all of the rest of it that has been centralized, much to our demise, because we can be held ransom to that. And we've become disempowered in that, and we've lost our sovereignty to that. And so it is time to bring back a sense of confidence and sovereignty within ourselves. And that involves taking responsibility for, you know, our basic needs, you know, our hierarchy of needs, which is, you know, shelter, food, etc., etc. And social interaction and spiritual community is also very important. So it's exciting because that is exactly what is going to come out of this shit show of the structures falling apart in rather spectacular fashion. Jill said, I watched the Test cricket this afternoon. Sorry, Matt, we won against the Kiwis. I really don't care. Jill, there's no need to apologise for that. For once, it was as exciting as cricket can get. That sounds great. It was good background to my house clearing stuff. Awesome. Yeah, there's absolutely nothing wrong with enjoying the entertainment of 22 guys having a game of cricket. Hopefully they enjoyed themselves as well. I do find spectator sport rather interesting. It's a rather interesting phenomena. But anywho's, you know, some people get very, very contracted, and some people really consider themselves sports people because they watch sport on television. That's the hilarious thing for me. These people would never get out and actually go to the field and play cricket themselves, but they consider themselves cricket experts. Where's the mentality in this? But anywho, awesome. Lou said it's a small group, but we're helping everyone learn at each other's pace. Michelle said, putting aside our differences to be in tribe, I find the tribe I'm in, family, is hurtful and uses. Yeah, and it's important that we expand tribe beyond family, because you don't get to pick your family, Michelle. This is the point. You don't get to, you did kind of pick your family, but you did so for karmic reasons before you incarnated. I'm talking about attracting people who are aligned with you and the vibration that you are holding, which is not necessarily people who share genetics with you. So it's important to recognize that while they do say blood is thicker than water and all the rest of it, and it has been in our history that family bonds have been a strong thing to call on, I think that's falling apart in many ways. And I know some people would think that's a bad thing, but potentially not. You know, I think we can definitely expand out beyond allowing blood connection to be more important than soul connection. So, and I'm not saying that we should ditch our families easy peasy just because it's too hard to deal with them. But at the same time, I would not encourage you to make your family your only tribe, because that is, it's perpetuating your suffering. So look elsewhere as well. Expand out. Lou says, so far 2 doctors have joined us to bring plasma healing to some patients already in need of the cancer alternatives. Thanks for the clear thoughts. Yeah, awesome, brother Lou. And we definitely hold space for you and your group to continue working with emerging technologies that will revolutionize healthcare and get us out of this bullshit sickness management pharmaceutical model that is killing us all. killing society basically and enslaving them. So awesome that you are choosing to invest your time and effort and intent in bringing alternates to the fore and allowing them to develop and allowing them to be utilized. I think that is important for us all, and through those endeavors we will facilitate an ever-expanding circle of options and opportunities for people to achieve better health. Anywho's, my friends, I think I've done it. I know I was late getting on, but it looks like it's time I should be getting off. So, and I do have another call coming up in a few minutes, so I better get myself sorted for that. I've been chasing my tail all morning. I slept heavy eventually after the moon activation last night, then meditated, and then had technical issues with everything else. So only just managed to feed the chooks and the birds, etc. Awesome, Lou. I'm glad it's working for you. No worries, Jess, Tess, Tara. I'm going to add an extra word in there, so it's Jess, Tess, Tara now. Welcome, and it's my pleasure to turn up and have a chat with you guys, right? Just understand that this is not me lecturing you guys on what's right and what's wrong. This is an evolving discussion that occurs through co-created space, right? So as you guys show up, we can allow the energy to flow through based on your propensity to receive it. So that's how it's working. This is completely dependent on the audience, as always. So thank you for showing up and giving me the opportunity to allow to flow through what is pushing the envelope, right? Which is inspiring us all, which is supportive and basically working towards empowered transformation for us as individuals and for us as a society and a community. Much love, my friends. Bye for now. Namaste. Keep smiling. Breathe deep. Trust that there's still plenty of what do we call it? Intensity in the air, and it will be chaotic for a while longer. So be an allowance of the chaos and trust that the disintegration that's happening all around us and what's happening within us is okay. It's appropriate. It's necessary. So don't make it wrong that shit seems to be falling apart. Relax through that and just do your best to keep expanding into what's emerging without getting contracted around what's falling apart. Much love, Susie. Much love, everyone else. Bye for now. Namaste.